Hi, welcome to episode 6 of Pink's Picks, recommendations from a retired English teacher. Today we're going to be talking about the Bildungsroman novel, which is also known as the apprenticeship novel, which is also known as the coming of age novel. But we're going to talk about a specific focus, which is the coming of age novel of a motherless adolescent girl. Probably your first exposure to this would have been in high school. Most high school students, as freshmen, read To Kill a Mockingbird. And with To Kill a Mockingbird, we have the motherless scout. And this story is told in first person from her perspective. In this book, she goes from age 6 to age 8 during the course of the novel, and her mother died when she was 2. So she was so young that she doesn't remember the personality, but it's the absence of having a mother figure that she longs for. So that would be your first exposure. The girls today that we're going to be talking about are a bit older than that, but nevertheless they share that tremendous loss, even though they in fact did know that parent. The first is a coronavirus read, and then the second two I had read previous to this piece. This one, again, the first one that we're going to talk about is called Counting by Sevens, and it is by Holly Goldberg Sloan. And she worked as an advertising copywriter first, and also the writer and director of feature films. In this particular story, it is in first person narration from the perspective of Willow Chance, and also there's some third person omniscient narration. The setting is Bakersfield, California. With this particular piece, there are some things I absolutely love. One, I love the cover of this book. The interesting title, Counting by Sevens. You've got the symbolic red fish going one direction, the green school of fish going the other, and it says, if you're lost, you might need to swim against the tide. Willow is, as she calls herself, a person of color. Interestingly, to me too, what I found appealing is that there is just a varied mix of key characters from racially and diverse backgrounds. I like that. It just added flavor to the whole story. It is 378 pages, 61 chapters. I'd like to read a couple of quotes for you. For one, the precocious Willow says, all reality, I decide, is a blender where hopes and dreams are mixed with fear and despair. She also says, the world where we live is so much in our head. Oh my gosh. And that's just appropriate, even though this is recommended as for ages 10 and up. You know, I'd be on the up, but I love the book. So I think adults appreciate that as well. She's just, the kid's clever. She has scored a perfect score on an IQ test, and I was taken to see an educational consultant that autumn, and the woman did an evaluation. She sent my parents a letter. I read it. It said I was highly gifted. Are people lowly gifted, or medium gifted, or just gifted? It's possible that all labels are curses, unless they're on cleaning products. Because in my opinion, it's not really a great idea to see people as one thing. Every person has lots of ingredients to make them into what is a one-of-a-kind creation. We are all imperfect genetic stews. According to the consultant, Mrs. Grace V. Merman, the challenge for parents of someone highly gifted was to find ways to keep the child engaged and stimulated. But I think she was wrong. Almost everything interests me. You know, along Willow's journey, she learns that it's not who gives you life, but who gives you love. And don't we all learn that? This is precious. It's a precious read. The next one, where we have a motherless protagonist that I'm going to talk about, and this one is not listed as a young adult novel, but it certainly could be. And this is Rabbit Cake by Annie Hartnett. She teaches writing at Grub Street, which is a writing center in Boston, Massachusetts. And with this, she tells the first person tale of Elvis Babbitt. And Elvis is a girl, but Babbitt as a literature lover, the last name Babbitt, wow, that's a win for me. In this one, I like the intro and understand that Elvis's mother is a sleepwalker and she actually drowned. The coroner said that the drowning was an accident, but there is some conjecture that perhaps the mother might have committed suicide. So Elvis is attempting to make sense of a senseless tragedy, regardless of how her mother died. And as sad as those parts are, there's comic relief as well. This precocious child was one of her school assignments was to memorize a sonnet. Well, as she's trying to find a sonnet to memorize, she comes across two of her mother's plays, dog-eared copies of both Hamlet and Macbeth. And so she says, January was National Shakespeare Month, and Miss Powell wanted everyone in the class to memorize a sonnet. I decided I would perform a monologue from Hamlet instead. After I found the book in Mom's office, some of the pages dog-eared, in the play, Ophelia falls into the river and drowns. But everyone thinks it was a suicide. It happens off stage, so we can't be sure. After I finished Hamlet, I took Macbeth from Mom's office. Lady Macbeth has a sleepwalking scene in the play in Act 5, and shortly after that, she kills herself. Maybe suicide has always been more common in sleepwalkers. I couldn't find anything on the internet to confirm whether that was true. In Macbeth, the doctor says that sleepwalking disease is beyond my practice, but that he knows that some sleepwalkers die holily in their beds. I thought that meant the rest of the sleepwalkers, the unholy ones, the ones like Lady Macbeth, must commit suicide. Of course, that play was written a long time ago, but Shakespeare was a genius. Everyone knows that. Precious. And the last one is The Line Tender by Kate Allen. And Kate Allen is actually from Rockport, Massachusetts, which is where this particular piece is set. You can look and see my motif number 1 earrings. This is recommended for middle graders, but again, adults appreciate it. She tells the story of the 12-year-old Lucy Everhart. And first of all, I love, love, love the epigraph in the front of this. It's from Rachel Carson. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. Love the epigraphs. I love the illustrations. Lucy's mother, who died a couple of years before this starts, she was a shark researcher off the coast of Massachusetts, is where she primarily did her research. So these are absolutely beautiful. And the illustrator here, her name is Shenya Jin. And I just love it. I just love that each of the chapters begins with the title and this beautiful, beautiful illustration. I love the title itself, and the definition of a line tender is, I will read this for you. The line tender sees everything, reads the diver's signals, the terrain, the equipment, uses all the resources to stay connected to the other end of the line. And her father is on the dive team for the city of Rockport. And so he is often the one that is holding the line, or he could be the one who's diving and to signal. And it's a lifeline, if you will, to signal what has been discovered beneath the surface of the water. This also is precious. The voice of the adolescent, motherless female, just beautiful. I will give each one of these an A. I would highly recommend them for children or adults. Next time, I will be discussing a nonfiction piece, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and do your homework.